So basically, when SAP S4 HANA came into the picture, for SAP S4 HANA, last year SAP launched a training roadmap where basically certification was to be launched, okay, within the third quarter of 2017. In that, the course content was mentioned was the delta. So there was a mention that the separate certification for PP, MM, ST, and it was covering the delta part. Delta means what are the changes there with the S4 HANA. So it was having a 3 books. Each one was having a 3 books, which covers about Fiori applications, which cover SAP HANA, the basics of HANA, which covers basics of SAP S4 HANA. But when actually in the third quarter the certification has been launched, so the certification for MM has been launched and certification for SD has been launched. So right now we have these 2 certifications available with SAP S4 HANA, MM and SD. So these 2 certifications, when SAP has launched, now this MM certification is ECC MM functionality, all of the ECC MM functionality, plus what are the changes coming in SAP S4 HANA. Which means that you need to be, when you are going for MM certification, there would be around 50% part would be asked from the basics of MM and 50% part would be asked for the new part, which is SAP S4 HANA. That ratio can be also 60-40 or 40-60. That is a rough ratio. So it includes the 3 to 4 books which was available with ECC, normal MM procurement processes, which cover all of the MM part, plus SAP S4 HANA books. So right now the certification we have, same thing happened for ST. It's a complete SAP S4 HANA certification for MM. It's a complete SAP S4 HANA certification for SD, where all of the things, all of the functionalities of MM and SD will be asked. And on top of that, what is the delta thing with SAP S4 HANA? What are the new functions, features are there in SAP S4 HANA is also included. Now in total, you need to prepare around 6 books to clear the certifications. So the certification become more tough now. You need to read a lot if you want to clear the certification. So it's now there's no certification called simple logistics. Earlier there was a simple finance certification, but for simple logistics there is no certification. We have a certification for MM, we have a certification for SD, and for PP the certification is yet to be launched. Yeah, so we only cover this part, we only cover this delta part. We don't cover the all of the MM parts. So what you need to do actually, if you want to go for the full certifications, there's 2 ways. One way is that you're already experienced in procure to pay, and we can help you to provide these books. You can study by your own, and we can guide you in this training, 40 to 45 hour trainings which we have. We'll be training you on SAP S4 HANA. Okay, and MM you can get it by yourself. Or the other separate trainings are available for SAP MM, which is a separate 40 to 45 hours of training, which you can do on MM to get revise your concepts or to get trained on MM. Then you can learn SAP S4 HANA, and then you can go for the certification. Yeah, so why we have combined all of these 3 together? Because there are a lot of things which is common in these modules. So the first half, because you know how the project's going to happen, what are the things you need to go to the project, activate methodology, basics of HANA, basics of S4 HANA, different deployment options, data provisioning tools, Fiori. This all things are common in all of these modules. The difference will be starting when we're going into the specific simplification. In specific simplifications also, we have a lot of things common. So the master data, which will be having the biggest part, is business partner. So we'll be having a specific couple of sessions on business partner. That is the biggest topic in the simplification that is common in across the modules. Your master data simplification, material master simplifications are common across the modules. If we talk about output management with BRF plus, that is common with both MM and SD. So the system we have is IDS SAP S4 HANA. Okay, 1610. Let me show you our systems. So, but this IDS system is, the recently launched for SAP S4 HANA. So don't expect that this IDS system will be having a same kind of thing which you are getting from IDS ECC 6.0. So I would say the IDS ECC 6.0 is quite enriched, okay, compared to this ECC IDS. We'll be having a predefined sales orgs, predefined organization structure, so that all will be there in this. So what we are saying when we talk about IDS 6.0, it is there for quite some years. So the data has been enriched and all of the scenarios are available there. Okay, so in IDS SAP S/4HANA 1610, you will be only able to run the basic scenario, basically, which covers that even SAP right now is not recommending to use IDS SAP S/4HANA because of some of the technical constraints are also there. So they still need to come for a perfect IDS version for SAP S/4HANA, which can be upgraded to the newer version. So the problem with these IDS 1610 is it cannot be upgraded to the new 1709. It's a static one. So there's SAP notes for that, which talks about IDS SAP S/4HANA. So SAP is still working to provide some robust system for demos and for this IDS. So 1610 is basically the last year version. 1709 is basically launched only the 2 months back. Okay. So things you will be getting from 1709, all of the details or maybe the ideas for that is next year. So SAP has an innovation cycle for on-premise yearly. So every year you will be having a new version. Okay, the 1610 when we talk, the 16 is basically your year. This is basically month in which it launched. So we have a specific session for clouds where we basically discuss that what are the cloud options are there. So we have a on cloud solution, we have a on-premise solution. So we discuss what is the difference between them. On cloud also we have a different strategies can be there. There can be private cloud, which is on-premise on cloud, and within the cloud also we have a HANA Cloud Platform, HANA Enterprise Cloud. So we'll have a specific session for that to explain. But our basic training will be there on-premise 1610. So let me answer the first question, that how many sessions we'll be having for procurement. So we'll be having basically the procurement and SD modules. The 80% of the things are common. So the master data would be the common, enterprise management would be the common, and business partner approach would be the common. Output management would be the common. Okay, so that common part will be covering first. So in together, you can say that the procurement and SD part together will take around 6 to 8 sessions. Around 14 to 16 hours we'll spend on the procurement and SD simplifications. Now the second question is on the certification. So because most of the people have a query to certification, so let me show you from the SAP side. We have a links for the certification. I can show you that what are the different books you need to follow if you want to go to this. And I will also want to show you that the content. So we'll be sharing the SAP ebooks. That will be the content. So we'll be covering all of the simplifications delta part. So when we talk about delta, let's say we talk about the business partner. So to do the business partner, to implement the business partner in a project, what are the things we need to do? So we need to do the configuration in SAP S4 HANA system. We need to maintain the CVIs, and we need to also do the changes in the ECC system. We need to do the separate configuration in the ECC system. So what are the new configurations coming which we need to do to have this delta part, to run this delta part? How to do the business partner transactions, how to configure the business partner into the system. Let's say we talk about advanced ATP, when we talk about AATP. So we discuss about what configuration you need to do to activate AATP. Now there are specific applications available for Fiori, which is a new application and which is not available with that configurations are not available in GUI, that is back order processing. So we discuss in detail of back order processing, what is back order processing, and how with the advanced ATP back order processing is changing. So what configuration you need to do, how you need to configure the applications for the back order processing. Okay, that is only available with the Fiori. So that is the delta or the new part which is coming that we cover. So we cover the process of the delta as well as the configuration which we require to run the delta. So we need to not only in the HANA, we need to also do the pre-checks before the conversion. In ECC side, there's a 6 to 7 configuration steps we need to do for business partner configuration from SPRO. From S4HANA also, before doing a BP transaction, there's a healthy configurations which we need to do. And the concepts are also very strong, which create a lot of problems if it is not configured properly. So we cover all of this part. The configuration is responsibility of supply chain consultants. It would be basically your SD and MM consultant both need to take that responsibility to do that configuration together. Yes, the books which we have shown is for SAP. I have also, I hope that you have already seen the book for SD which I have shown. So basically, yeah, for the indirect procurements, what we have is that if you will see the overall of the procurement side, the basic and the biggest change which is coming with the Fiori applications. So the whole process we can run on the Fiori with the Fiori applications. That is the biggest process is changing. So although we can do the standard process still with our GUI transactions, okay, but for indirect procurement we can use the new Fiori applications where basically we can upload the catalogs, and the catalogs will be having a look and feel of the same which we do from the SRM, right? So you can create your purchase requisition by maintaining a cart and then selecting different products into the cart. So these kind of the new Fiori applications are available which you can use for the indirect procurement. So that will be covering. Although the standard process you can also use in the same way which it was used in ECC 6.0. So basically, our course is more intended towards basically when you go into the project, what all things you need to do in the project. Okay, what all of the stuff you need to do, so that all things we provide you, that what is required to run in a SAP S4HANA new project or a migration or conversion project. Okay, that all information and knowledge we provide. So that is basically the information and knowledge which is required in the market. So in market, there are the two kind of, when we look for the candidates, we look for the candidates who is basically, if it is SAP S4HANA project, he should be strong in the logistics background. Let's say if you want for the SD, and on top of that, he should be knowing the SAP S4HANA related changes which is coming up, and how to run SAP S4HANA projects, what are the tools used for the migration, conversion. Okay, so how these all steps happen, he should be knowing about the Fiori. So all of these things we check when we recruit a candidate, right? So this all informations, this all knowledge you'll be getting from this training. And there will be some sample resumes we shared, so you can use them and prepare those sample resume. But the key point is that if you have the knowledge, if you go in deeply with our course, okay, you will be having all of the knowledge which is required in SAP S4HANA project. So if any project has a requirement of any implementation migration project has a requirement, then you will be for a SD consultant on S4HANA project, so you will be the first candidate who will be preferred. So all of the topics which we have handpicked topics, which it is not only the SAP S4HANA projects. After this training, we have seen that there are a lot of sidecar scenarios are also. So S4HANA is called main car. We have a sidecar scenarios are also available where HANA is used for analytics. So a lot of analytics projects are also there in the market. So after our training, you will also be able to fill the gap of a functional consultant in the analytics projects, which is on HANA, not on SAP S4HANA. No, it's not mandatory that you go with all of the 3 modules. So still in SAP S4HANA projects also we have a separate consultants for the separate modules. Okay, so SD, if you only go with the SD, that is perfectly fine. And because you are coming from the support background, so for you it would be important that you pay a complete attention when we basically talk about the project methodologies, activate methodologies, what step we need to do in a project, because support projects are quite different with the implementation project. So it is not with the SAP S/4HANA implementation. If you go into the normal ECC implementation project also, you will be seeing a lot of different things which is not there in a support project. But that will give you a good chances to win implementation project if you know SAP S/4HANA, because the people are less. And if somebody, although you have a support experience, but if you also know SAP S/4HANA, there are the good chances that you can be picked for implementation project. So you will say that it's not about SAP S/4HANA for all of the products we have. Basically, the India market follow up the US market, so it will be 1 or 2 years back from the US market. But in India, we are getting a lot of demands and requirements due to the demand is picking up in the US. So for the many companies, we are having a hub in India. The IT hubs are in India. Basically, the IT projects are run from India. So many US demands which is coming from, actually the implementation is happening in the US or Europe. Actually, the demand is flowing to India due to those projects. But India domestic business clients, they are still slow to picking up SAP S/4HANA. So when we talk about the procurement, after we cover the what are the changes are there into the master data, we cover the higher level process in general. So higher level process which you have mentioned, that process you can continue and go ahead and do it in the in SAP GUI, in SAP S/4HANA, it works exactly in the same way if you are adopting only to the GUI. If you are adapting to the Fiori, so basically the Fiori knowledge will come into the picture, that how to select the applications, which applications need to be used. So the look and the feel and the simplification. So if you will also go through the SAP training contents or the ebooks which we have provided, in the process, the basic simplification or the biggest simplification is coming with the user experience. So if you want to enhance the user experience, if you want to change the user experience, you need to adopt to Fiori. So when you will be adopting to the Fiori, we'll be showing all of the Fiori applications which is required to run that scenario. And we'll be also showing that how to select those applications, how to configure those applications, how to create catalogs, code groups for the applications, how to activate the OData services, or how to collect the information to give it to the base system to activate the OData services for those applications. So that part we'll be covering, and then we'll be covering in the procurement another changes for the output management that we cover. We also cover the change which is coming for material ledger. We cover the inventory valuation, the delta which is happening, and the data model. So data model is also changing. We have a new tables for procurement and the inventory processes, the MADDOC table. So all of these things we cover. But as per a procurement process, there is nothing much changes if we still go ahead with the GUI applications. All of the configurations still remains the same. So there's one more certification which has been launched, which is business process integration, which basically cover the whole S/4HANA. Yeah. So that certification is same as we are giving the whole ECC certification. Covers it, not only cover the logistics module. Our expectation till the second quarter of this year was that there should be some same kind of certification should be launched by SAP, but it should cover only the logistics module. But when the certification has been launched for this that certification, it covers your PP module, it covers SD module, it covers MM modules, it covers FI module, it covers CO module, it covers asset management, it covers HR management, it covers projects. So it covers everything, each of the modules basics of SAP S/4HANA. So basically, we are still not very clear that who will be people will be going for that certification, but definitely the architects who are having a more than of let's say the 10 or 15 years of experience on SAP, and who have worked on all of these areas, who have a basic knowledge of HR modules, also asset management. They also know some part of finance, inventory. They also know how the sales happen, how we need to do the procurement part. Who know all of this stuff, that certification is basically for those people. It covers everything in SAP S/4HANA, all of the modules. So if you know the brief of that, you can go ahead. The
Okay.
good part of that course is it only covers everything is covered only in one book. So you need to read only one book. That is the only certification which you can go ahead with reading only one book. Yeah, that is true, but with the star marks, material ledger, we should say the obligatory. But because when we talk about the material ledger, we basically talk about the actual costing, because the actual costing is the basic agenda or basic goal where we use the material ledger. Actual costing is not mandatory. Material ledger is mandatory, so all of the materials will be having their own accounts and the posting will be there in the respective tables, but still actual costing is optional. So this is the one which is SAP Certified Application Associate, Business Process Integration with SAP S/4HANA. You can see on my screen. Okay, so you can see that it covers all of the processes, your finance, controlling, S/4HANA basics, project system, asset management, cash processing, PP, warehouse management, MM. It covers everything. And the book is this TS410. Basic knowledge, plus you need to read this book at least 3 times. So SPRO would be the common SPRO. It's not the specific one. How is the response from IDS S/4HANA? So as we have already discussed with IDS S/4HANA, it's not that great that ECC IDS is there, but still it's good enough to do the training. Related to the functional consultants are expected to create and customize Fiori applications, or technical developers. Technical developers will be doing the enhancement of the application and creating of new applications. The activating or the setting up the layout for the business, that how the layout should be look for the users, that need to be done by the functional people that will be training it here. That how to set up that role, how to make that roles, how to combine the application in the catalogs and the code groups, that will be training it here. That functional consultant need to do. When do you post your assignments? Assignments is, we don't have assignment for each of the session, but altogether you can say that 3 or 4 session, or every week there will be one assignment. Migration steps, we cover that what are the pre-checks and the post-checks need to be done by a functional consultant. So migration include multiple steps which basis team need to do. If you are using the conversion with the system update manager and with the DMO data migration options, there's multiple steps which basis team need to do for the migration that we don't cover. We only cover what functional consultant need to do. So basically, SAP started its journey somewhere around 1970s with R2. So what is R2? R2 is basically real time. That was the first real time system, and 2-tier, which has a presentation layer and the DB. So that is a 2-tier system we were having, and in this 2-tier system, the old black screens were there, which were not having that good of the interfaces, but still, for in 1970s, if you will talk about, it was a great innovation related to the database managements and related to a system which can be used for real time to make the transactions. So to improve the real-time scenarios, SAP moved from 1970s in 1990s to R3. So basically in R3, and actually we get to the architecture of 3-tier architecture, where basically we put an additional layer of application layer with presentation layer, and we had the DB layer, database layer. So within the R3, other than this 3-tier model, which actually moved the system to OLTP system, which is online transaction processing system. So we'll be talking about these names repeatedly. We'll talk about OLTP and we'll also talk about OLAP. So basically, OLTP is online transaction processing system, and OLAP is online analytical processing system. So this OLTP, we use it for the live transaction processing where we happen, and OLAP is basically where we have analytical processing. So R3 is still considered as a OLTP. Even the ECC system is also considered as a OLTP system, online transaction processing system, because for the analytical processing we use a separate system as a BW system. So in 1990s, which when the improvement happened from R2 and we moved with R3, we have the new interface, which was GUI, graphic user interface. So that was a wow factor in R3 when the GUI has been launched. And then from in 2000, SAP has actually moved from R3 to 2000 in ECC, where basically most of the things remain same, but you have a plugin interfaces with the different modules here, which includes your supply chain management, SEM, your SRM, CRM, got a plugin interface, and it become SAP made it as make it as a core ECC enterprise core component. Now these shifts, we compare that when SAP has shifted from 1917 till 2000, shifted from R2, R3 and ECC, the biggest shift is considered altogether, or all of the shift is in 2015 when SAP has moved to SAP S4 HANA. So why this is a biggest shift? This is a biggest shift because this SAP S4 HANA only works with the HANA database. So basically, actually the new thing, the innovation has been done is with the HANA. That is the new database, which is the in-memory database. Okay, so we'll talk about in detail what are the in-memory database and what are the traditional database, how in-memory database is beneficial, and HANA is actually even more than an in-memory database. So HANA comes from the new innovation of the database, and 4 come from the 4th generation, and S come from the SAP. So there's a 4th generation of SAP with the HANA as a database. So all of these products, when we talk about R2 or we talk about R3 or we talk about ECC, those can be run on any database. So you can have Oracle, IBM databases, and you can run the software on those databases. So what was happening is that one of the things is that there is a significant market share whenever the SAP, any customer is basically taking a SAP, there is some share is going to this database vendors, which is taking the share from SAP, although the selling has happened for SAP, but database is used from the another. So that market share, one point is that market share SAP wants to target it, and the other thing is that the innovation is also required. So SAP become with this so many years with doing so many improvements and implementing so many standard business processes into a single tool, SAP become a complicated tool. And to run all of these applications, SAP has a different batch jobs and everything, which the normal database doesn't support. So there was a requirement in the market to have a database which can work 10 times or 20 times faster than the other databases, so that actually when we say the real-time processing, the real-time processing can happen when we do the real-time jobs, and the performance should be improved. And the other target was to combine our online transaction processes with online analytical processes. So this is the SAP first product, which can be called OLTP and OLAP together, which can perform the analytical processing, live analytical processing with the live transaction processing also. It can be done both. Okay, so with SAP S4 HANA, SAP launched the first version is 15.11. Second version has been launched in 16.10, and the third version has been launched in 17.09. And the 4th version is expected in 18.08. So basically every year SAP is launching a new version where the new simplification has been introduced. Okay, the more and the more things has been simplified, and the data footprint has been reduced, data model has been changed. So the big step has been taken with SAP S/4HANA. And actually, before S/4HANA, there's one more product. In the next slide, we'll go into the details. In between, SAP launched the Simple Finance. In Simple Finance, we were only having a simplification related to the finance. For S/4HANA, again, SAP is going and merging it into a single product, which is called S/4HANA, which will be having a simplification for all of the modules, including finance. So finance was the first module which had a simplification, so the separate product has been launched for finance. But in S/4HANA, it has put together all of the products. So when we talk about S/4HANA, so the simplification and the innovation journey is a continuous journey. So SAP is keep on simplifying, keep on removing the obsolete transactions and obsolete processes from S/4HANA with each of the new release. And the data models and the data footprint will be reduced with each of the new release. So that is basically the SAP journey from R2 to R3 to ECC and to S/4HANA. Okay, so the next thing we'll discuss about when we have moved to S/4HANA. S/4HANA is not only a product. So within the HANA also SAP has a significant journey where they're starting working on, I think, 2005 or 6, and the first product was launched in 2010. So within HANA also they have, by using HANA, there are the different products are available in the market. So we'll discuss those. Okay, so a question for you guys. So we discussed about R2, R3, ECC, and HANA. Do you have any idea that how many tiers do we usually find in SAP HANA application? So if it is SAP S/4HANA or any HANA application, is it a 1-tier application, or it would be a 2-tier, 3-tier, or 4-tier? You can post your answers into the chat window or the question window for this question. So for SAP HANA or S/4HANA system, how many tiers it can be? Is it considered as a 2-tier system, 3-tier system, or 1-tier system? So we have seen that we moved from R2 to R3, we moved from 2-tier to 3-tier system. But what about HANA? Whether it's a 2-tier or it's a 3-tier? So these are these kind of the questions which you can find it in the certification exams also. So this has actually, let me tell you, it has a multiple answers. So you will find in the certification exam which has more than one answer, right? So this has a multiple answers. So the correct answer for this is SAP HANA supports also a 2-tier architecture and also 3-tier. So these both options are correct, 2-tier and 3-tier. So how? So we have a HANA DB. So we'll discuss about in detail of the basics of HANA DB. So HANA database is called an in-memory database, but it is much more than the in-memory database. That's where basically SAP has won from their other participants, where basically they have developed a HANA database, which is much more than in-memory or the traditional databases. We have a HANA database, and within that HANA database, basically we have an application layer. So application layer is built in within the HANA database. That is called HANA Access Application Layer. So if we are using a HANA as a appliance, or it's more called appliance. If you're using a HANA as an appliance, okay, and then we have two options here. We have an access application layer, which is inbuilt on top of the database. We can directly use this application layer. So HANA act as a database, then HANA also act as an application layer. So we can directly connect our system, our presentation layer, which can be web application or our own any application. We can direct connect it to this, and we can adopt to this 2-tier model, where basically for application layer we are using HANA database. Okay, the another architecture which also be there, you can have your presentation layer, and you can also use a separate application layer which is outside of HANA database. Then you can connect to this, and then you can only use HANA as a database. So this both kind of architectures are available. So either we can adopt to this architecture or this architecture. The first one which we have discussed is two-tier model. The other one which we have discussed is three-tier model. So the next topic is what is the difference between SAP HANA, SAP Suite on HANA, and S4 HANA. So basically, when you will go into the market, and actually when also we also take the interviews, I have clearly identified, that people, even though they have a working experience with the S4 HANA or the different product, but still people are confused with the different products. So within the HANA, earlier we were having only basically one product was there, ECC. Within the HANA, we have a multiple products. So you will be hearing the multiple names, and that names should be clear that what actually we mean with those names. So you will be hearing a name called HANA. Then you will be also hearing S4 HANA. The another name you will be hearing Simple Logistics. The another name you will be hearing Simple Finance. Another name you will be hearing MMO, Material Management and Operation. Another name you will be hearing is Digital Hub or Digital Core. Another name you can hear about is Central Finance. Some people say Suite on HANA, HANA Live. Any another name which you have heard about? Sidecar, Main Car. So basically, what are these all things? So when we hear, then on top of that, you will be also hearing it's on-premise, it's on cloud, it's private cloud. So the basic thing is that when we are moving with SAP S/4HANA, although it's about the simplifications, okay, but it is giving us much more options when we talk about SAP HANA as a product. So HANA as a product can be used as a different ways. So most of the names which I have written here is actually referring to the different products. Earlier we were only having the ECC, right? Now when we are moving forward with SAP S/4HANA, we have a multiple options. There is a multiple options are there for HANA products. Simple Finance is a different product. Central Finance is a different product. So actually, it's making all of the products are intended to make the thing simple, but in actually, it's making the things complicated for consultants. Now, the consultants need to understand that these are the different products are available with HANA. They need to understand that what are basically these different products are, and what is the difference between all of these products. Okay, so after this training, you should be having a very clear understanding on all of the names which we have put it. You should be in any interviews or in any discussion, you should be very clearly identifying that what are these different products are and for what purpose we use those products.